We are in a new episode of the Design Comedy, the series that takes you inside design companies with exceptional guides, that is, those who support and guide these international realities day after day. We are expecting a real rich and why not also funny episode. At this point, I wouldn't waste time in pleasantries, but I go and discover the guest of honor of this episode. Let's see the film.
È nato tutto in questo famoso 1969 in cui abbiamo iniziato la nostra attività e la nostra vita coniugale.
Per me è stata una figlia living, cioè non dico che veniva prima di tutto, ma quasi, insomma.
L'azienda quando sono arrivata io era lissonicentrica, se si può dire.
Io credo che il segreto del successo di Living sia legato all'intensità della presenza della famiglia. Da un certo momento in avanti la Living si è rafforzata a sufficienza, è diventata sufficientemente credibile per poter cominciare a lavorare con altri e a venderli.
Sono riuscita a portare in azienda altri designer.
Se tu davvero hai un'idea, e quella è la cosa importante.
Non bisogna urlarle le cose, secondo me.
I prodotti silenziosi sono quelli che hanno vita, quelli che durano di più e anche le aziende durano di più.
It's not that we follow as much what is the fashion or the trend because we have our own identity. Stiamo lavorando sul far capire che anche noi ci siamo, ci saremo e possiamo solo migliorare.
Mi rendo conto che il nostro prodotto è un prodotto che va al consumatore finale ad un certo costo e perciò deve essere perfetto.
E alcune volte mi riguardo in giro e dico ma mi sembra strano che siamo riusciti a fare queste cose, no? Cioè, ma è vero che l'ho fatta io questa cosa qui.
Well, it's time to welcome the second generation of the company, face an unstoppable mind of Living Divani. I introduce you Carola Bestetti, Head of Marketing and Communication.
Hi Paolo.
Please,
Thank you.
welcome at home, Carola.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Where did I get you from? What were you doing?
I was actually at home today.
Were you planning your summer holidays?
Maybe. No, not yet.
No.
I don't even know if I'm going on vacation. I've got some work to catch up on, given the contingency of the last few months, so let's see. Hopefully.
I'm asking because I figure you were tired. Because we all know that in Living Divani, every excuse is a good to celebrate something. And I know you have come back from a pretty big anniversary, from which we took inspiration for the title of our episode of today, namely 50 years and still going strong. Years made by solid collaboration, and despite the historicity of the brands, there is always a freshness in design, in the evolutions and in facing new market trends. Am I right?
Absolutely. Living Divani, as you anticipated, is just back from the celebrations of the 50th anniversary of the foundation. Then back in '69, when my parents Renata and Luigi Bestetti created the company, a company founded from nothing. So last year's great celebration was precisely this, with events of various kinds and caliber. This year we hope to reap the fruits of those efforts, but unfortunately the contingency has slowed down all these celebrations a little bit.
You mentioned an important anniversary, and at this point it is a must for every birthday to give a gift. So we thought we give you one too.
Oh, Mama.
You won't believe this. It's here. Please.
May I?
Sure, it's yours.
Thank you.
Don't worry, it's not fragile. Hold to create a little suspense. No, it's nothing that delicate.
Let's see if I can open it. Wow! Is there any cooperation under here?
We can tell. It's a secret.
Thank you ever so much.
We can tell. We can tell. Who are they? Tell us something.
This is exactly the family. So, Mum Renata Pozzoli and Dad Luigi Bestetti, the aforementioned founders of the company, me, the little one in the middle with the checkered dress, and my sister Veronica on the side, who is the older sister, but who is not involved in the company business. Wow, really? Thank you so much.
But tell me a little bit about your childhood towards the company. How is born? How did you get into it? Did you really want to join the company and work in the family business?
Look, in the meantime, I'll just put the present here on the floor. The story is quite funny. When I was clearly small, in elementary and middle school, I experienced the company a lot. In the sense that Mum and Dad spent most of their time, they devoted a lot of time to the company. So I used to frequent the company spaces very often, especially production ones, where they have these beautiful concrete floors where you could skate very well, because they were open spaces, so more for fun than for a future thought of collaboration.
It was your playground.
Yeah, it was my playground. I was having birthday parties and this stuff. Then, growing up, I realized what the reality of Living Divani was and the opportunity I could have. So I decided with my parents to take a path that would then take me to the company. My path was kind of cut short on the way. I didn't finish university, but I had experiences of life and work abroad that, in my opinion, enriched me from a different point of view, more than theoretical. And back home.
Abroad where?
I'd been to London, New York, and Los Angeles. More than study in London.
But always in the industry or something else?
In fact, always in the industry. That is, while I was living in London when I left university for a real-life experience, which is what I needed to learn how to live and manage myself, I was offered a job in New York, always a company in the sector not directly related to upholstery, but always in the field of design. It had just opened a flagship in New York, and they asked me if I wanted to do an internship experience, which is in fact at Buffy. In fact, Roberto Gavazzi, for this opportunity. And then nothing. The internship was supposed to be 6 months, and then it became 2 years. From those 2 years, they asked me to give a hand with the opening of the one in Los Angeles. So it was, and then I went back to Italy to work.
And your folks got you at this point?
Yes, I was a little bit absorbed by what was the family business, with different roles at the beginning, because I was in the commercial part, and I was following the American market. And then instead, I cut out a little bit more of my own space, which is what I'm dealing with now.
Then, since you liked the surprise, we have another one, because today is a bit of fun episode.
Okay.
I'd like to retrace with you... You scare.
Help.
You scare. I'd like to retrace with you some stages of the company, some exciting moments through a little game.
Oh dear.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I let you play this little game, and then I let you fish from this little bag. And based on what you fish, this is always for you. Based on what you fish, I ask you a question, I introduce a team, and you give me a meaning for you.
Shall I go?
Go fishing. So, 50, Golden Wedding for Living Divani. Company that, however, has the impression of still being young, especially thanks to the spirit of those who live it, like you and your parents. What do these 50 years mean to you, and what do you have in store for the future?
Well, as we anticipated before, these 50 years, especially for my parents, have been the crowning achievement of everything they have pursued. wanted and hoped for. I too often say, I've enjoyed the last 15-20 years, and I couldn't have done it until they laid the foundations for what the company is today. A company that is always the same as itself, is not influenced by fashion, but maintains a very precise consistency, and that is why we have achieved such great international recognition. What is in store for the future? Trying to maintain and consolidate this position by perhaps revealing new projects which are in progress and which we will see in the light between this year and next year.
Good. A series of events was accompanied by a celebration. Specifically, I'm referring to the Uncollected Collection exhibition.
Well, yes, then. The 50th was related to a very important event at the headquarters, the creation of a capsule collection, if we can call it so, then called Uncollected Collection, which was a bit of a gift for Piero Lissoni. It was a collection more to celebrate the collaboration with Piero that found life, the presentation during the 50 years of Living Divani. A double anniversary in short, which was also celebrated with a book, an almost collectible book called 50-30 book, a sort of playful pop-up, where we tell the company through a slightly different tool in our industry, so not a self-celebratory biography, boring, but very playful.
Yes, I remember, because I also have the book in my bookshelf at home. I would like to start with a video that reminds us how you celebrate these 50 years. congratulations on the celebration.
Yes, I'm still moved by it.
So, let's go ahead.
Right.
Do another shuffle. We got 2 more.
30.
30. Maybe you were about to mention that earlier, but you stopped.
Yes, I was good.
30 years of collaboration with Piero Lissoni.
Yes, Piero Lissoni has been art director for over 30 years for our company and has clearly contributed to creating what Living Divani is today. Maybe Piero was able to give shape to the idea of a company that my parents wanted but exactly didn't know how to put together. I would say that it was a successful marriage and that it has been going on for a good 30 years. And we celebrated simultaneously with the 50th anniversary, both through a book, as it says, and through the Uncollected Collection, which was just a collaboration gift of 30 years with Piero. This unlimited collection of pieces, I said, Piero, do what you want, white paper.
Even if maybe I'm wrong, but the first time when Piero arrived at the company and your father met him, there wasn't immediately that alchemy.
No, there wasn't that immediate alchemy, in the sense that Piero proposed himself to the company before 88-89. But in that period, my parents were already collaborating with the Kappa studio, which followed the whole management part. More than the product, but the communication and advertising part. And they were very happy with each other. They were already at the forefront, and so they said, no, look, thank you, but no. If not that in a few months Piero had started a collaboration with Boffi, and seeing how he worked with Boffi, they began to think.
Maybe this guy has talent.
But maybe this guy has some talent, so they decided to call him back and collaborate with him. The interesting thing is that Piero didn't want to approach the company as a simple designer, but he wanted to design the company together with the entrepreneurs. The fact that my parents gave him carte blanche is proof that they had found an absolute harmony. Otherwise, I don't think we would have reached over 30 years of collaboration with such a close path.
Poi, come dico, io definivo l'azienda appunto lissonicentrica perché comunque
But there is a lot of Piero's imprint in the company. But since you arrived, you have certainly been flanked by a corollary of new hands and therefore other talents, sometimes even younger, that you were discovering and finding out.
Yes, very true. As much as I love Piero, I consider him as an older brother. I also realize that he should not be labeled only and always that way. It is clear that Piero's model is very close to Living Divani's style, and together they have managed to build a trajectory in which they have managed to include other personalities and other names. I like to give space to young people too, because it's a difficult world for young designers, the world of furniture and companies that are usually very much linked to a strong name and have a hard time finding space. So instead of collaborating with other famous names or preferring to include young talents over the years. This is in fact since 2010, when I did for the first time from start to finish product development with the line of Juna Ishigami, which is what I had seen 2 years before. I chased him, I fell in love with his approach and his way of doing with the design. The presentation for Canon, in fact, that I had actually seen from there, I started to follow him and work with him. And in 2 years I understood that I would be able to work with him. And then I realized that the part that interested me the most was the creative part of working alongside Piero, product development and communication, in fact. Because with the product, in the end, you have to communicate the identity of the company.
Yes, let's say mainly international, because all those phases that you are going to find have some seed of the origins outside Italy.
Yes, but also many Italians. It has to be said that I don't choose a designer or a product for those who designed it, but I'm impressed by the presentation or the portfolio. Often I don't even look at the specific project they send me, but I look at what the person has already done before, so as not to be addressed. Maybe it has a gesture, a sign that I like, but not the project they sent me. So I prefer to work backwards and build the project together, if I can. And many nationalities.
Me too. I can
Because
also
we bring
draw a
all
little
these
for
ways
you.
of interpreting and living in a different way back into the Living
I can
Divani
draw
trajectory.
also
And above
little.
all, that all of them can find their
A
place
little
in
if you
Living
want to.
Divani, enriching their company with these different ways of interpreting design, objects and projects in general.
Me too. I can also draw a little if you want. Huh?
Certainly.
2021
We put in
Paolo
2021
Bleve
Paolo
collection.
Bleve for the various and possible.
I can draw a coffee table, maybe. Listen, I think there is last token, even though it goes without saying, that we have the number 20.
Yes, 20.
So the 20s is the anniversary for Wall and Bloom.
Yes, 20 because, as we said at the beginning, we always have to find arguments to celebrate something. So there's 2020 with a graphic and numerical game, in which in this 2020, two products also very iconic of the company celebrate 20 years. The sofa wall by Piero Lissoni, born in 2000, which was a bit a track opening for Living Divani, in the sense that in that year, the jump, especially numerical, the company has made thanks to this product, which then is the founder of a series of endless families of products, Wall, Extra Wall, and Extra Soft, that the last born and also the bestseller of the company today. So they are also important not only for their celebration of the product, but also for the idea of family, which is always a concept that we like to include in the company's communication. Therefore, extended family in the work context and extended family in the product context. Also, because it is easier to enter the collective imagination if you keep this identical consistency. So the same product that is declined in different connotations. And Bloom, on the other hand, designed by Pier Giorgio Cazzaniga, this very iconic, very striking armchair, to define a flower that blossoms and has had a lot of uses and feedback over the years. Bloom has also been used and reworked in different ways from an artistic point of view, both for charity or auctions and for individual interpretations of different artists who have selected it among the various projects of the company. And so this year we are carrying out several initiatives that from the beginning of the year until the end will enrich what is the corporate communication, especially on social media. For example, we have developed for Bloom a filter that is quite innovative, because in our sector has not yet been, at least for now, pushed. That's why we try in different ways to implement our presence through these social media.
You said these are both the company bestseller.
Well, Wall, all that's declensions. Bloom, I can safely say that he's never done crazy numbers because of its connotation, because it's more an art object than everyday use. But they continue to have their importance within the company.
And the secret of this long life on the bestsellers part?
I think this is a bit innate in the company. It's in the company DNA to be able to create furniture that is timeless, therefore current even after 20 years. Wall was chosen for various reasons 20 years and even today. I myself, who has now moved home, put Wall back because I'm fond of that product, which can be interpreted and coated as needed, but still current.
Well, I'm glad. It means that next year my coffee table will have an extraordinary future. The company has always had an eye for foreign countries, and this is also demonstrated by the relationship with Roche-Beaubois. Your father was among the first to believe and invest in international trade fairs abroad. How is this relationship with foreign markets developing today with living and abroad?
But Living Divani was, as you have already said, a company that has always had an international vocation. And this is demonstrated by the fact that since the early 70s, it was already present on foreign markets, mainly European, mainly French and German. And therefore, with the sector that we all still know well today. Roche-Beaubois had certainly been an important collaboration because it had chosen Living Divani to distribute the exclusive Living Divani products. Then, after a few years, my parents wanted to push and invest more in their brand and not find themselves as subcontractors for Roche-Beaubois. So they greeted them kindly, even if they remained in excellent terms, just to develop the Living Divani collection even further. And as of today, the foreign market accounts for over 85% of our turnover. So we are a made-in-Italy company, based in Italy with an important Italian market, but internationally has given greater brand awareness to the Living Divani brand.
Main markets?
Main markets, certainly Italy. Europe would be considered as unicum certainly before, but surely Germany, France and also Belgium, despite its small surface area, has a very important market outlet. And then North America is certainly a reference market for us, and then Asia in general is important for us, in particular with China, which is a new market for us. Because we entered it in time, not suspicious, and with all kinds of problems, we remained on foot for many years. And in the last 3 years, we have rebuilt the whole sales network also on Chinese territory.
And lands, let's say, still unexplored for you?
Uncharted lands, I would say African continent, a little bit off North Africa, then Egypt, Morocco, and where it works well. There is a well-developed hotel and infrastructure market, but not yet ready to a level of positioning as Living Divani. But otherwise, we are in the 5 continents. Surely we can't complain. There is always the
moon?
Yeah, the moon. Why not? I'm of the idea that there's always something to learn and improve, but surely we cannot complain. We're still a company with a selective product of its own. We know we are addressing a fairly delicate target.
You said before, Italy is an interesting market anyway. But there is any news about Milan?
Yes, we're finally opening our first own showroom in Milan. It's a project that we've been following for some time, and for a number of possible reasons, we haven't been able to celebrate. We have not been able to align these celebrations with last year's 50th anniversary, which was not possible. Alas, it was supposed to be the 2020 on the occasion of the Salone del Mobile. We were supposed to open. But we all know what happened.
An excuse for a new celebration in 2021. So we celebrate showroom.
No, we're going to get there. We're going to be doing it in 2020.
Really?
Yes, because the work was there and everything was ready. So shortly before the summer holidays, we will do the inauguration for the space to be able to relaunch in September the new space, but maybe with a product.
But my coffee table comes out in 2021.
The showroom will always be there.
Okay. Another celebration, the launch of my coffee table. But who followed the whole concept? Obviously, Piero.
Yes, obviously both the architectural box and the fittings are signed by Piero Lissoni, and it will be an interesting space because I'm a bit of a spoiler. Our intention was not to create another furniture store, but it will be more like a theatrical container with scenographies that will come and change several times, and with particular settings because we want to communicate and pass on what is the philosophy of Living Divani, and not so much product. And that is, however, a showcase directly connected with the company's art corte and showroom, where all the products can be viewed. So it's more to convey an indirect message, not through the product itself, which will be there anyway. but through the emotion that can create the display that we are going to present from time to time.
Definitely. A different way to get in touch with the brand, especially on a square like Milan, that enjoys an international audience.
Absolutely.
Listen, Carola, thanks a lot. It was wonderful.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Super smiling. Well, we are coming to the end credits. After a hilarious and very interesting episode in the company of Carola. I would like to tell you to come whenever you want. You have to book, unfortunately. We have this first season of the design comedy that will accompany several episodes. But in my opinion, in the second season we will definitely see each other again.
Okay, maybe. I'm counting on it. I had a great time. Thank you so much.
But how can I say, don't get too used to surprises and presents.
I was hoping for that myself. That's what I was hoping for, but nothing.
Well, at this point, I'll wait for you at the next episode of the Design Comedy, and I invite you to follow us on all official channels.